news.
We begin with breaking news tonight. One man is dead and several others were injured after a shooting in downtown Jackson where thousands of people turned out for the House St. Patty's Parade. Here's what we know so far. 2 days, that's how long you have until runoffs. And here in Jackson, one race that many of you are talking about is the Democratic primary for mayor. That it was in this hallway right here that he crouched down after shoving his family in the bathroom and trying to hold the door shut before his entire house was ripped apart by the severe weather. Earlier this evening, WLBT employees heard more than 20 gunshots outside our TV station. The shots started around 4:15 this afternoon, and Capitol Police dispatch was called. Downtown Jackson could look a little different over the next several months, now that 3 buildings, including Regions Plaza here and others within a few blocks of each other, are being sold to different owners, which could change the atmosphere of this downtown area. If you told me to do a pull-up regular, I don't think I could do.
They built differently there.
But we'll be cheering you on from this comfortable desk where we're not doing a pull-up. Damage can be seen all across Walthall County as a confirmed tornado touched down, tearing trees and homes apart, like this one here along Darbin Road. Engineers once again appearing in front of the Madison County Board of Supervisors this morning with updates on projects to improve the roads that you drive on every day. There is over 350 acres worth of land between Madison to the south and Gluckstadt to the north, with the Reunion Parkway project behind me, right smack dab in the middle of the property. You may have heard of the Cardiac Dogs over in Starkville, but Ole Miss fans probably had a higher heart rate today with their Rebs in a tight elimination game against Georgia Tech in Oxford. Take a look. This game looked like a home run derby for these two teams. You've mentioned a couple things that seem like it might be more for adults. Who all can come to this kind of event? Yeah, Chief Meteorologist Dave Roberts is here with me, and we've been going through homes and talking to people all day long about these devastating losses, but also these awesome survivors that made their way through the storm. Can you walk us through a little bit of this house that we're in right now? Yeah. Canton residents who live in flood zone areas like this one can once again have hope now that federal funds have been restored for the Bear Creek Watershed Project. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, breaking news out of Vicksburg, where 3 18-wheelers crashed into one another on I-20. July of 2023 marked a milestone here in Mississippi surrounding vaccines. That's when parents were able to request religious exemption for their children to not be vaccinated. This is where it all began. 2 small breaks in front of Cock of the Walk late Sunday night and into Monday morning. March Madness tipped off for our Mississippi teams yesterday, and now a few of those teams will be moving into the round of 32s. And the Ole Miss Rebels were one of the teams to grab a win in round 1, taking down the North Carolina Tar Heels. The decision comes on those state charges after a 9-day trial. Jerry Askin spoke with prosecutors who shared their disappointment with the verdict. Tice Gar was door dashing early Sunday morning when she saw an accident on I-55 South. But little did she know that the man she was about to try and save would turn around and threaten her life. As Tice Gar looks back at a video she took early Sunday morning, I can't. She remains in disbelief at the horror she went through before the sun had even risen that day.
I DoorDash, and while I was headed to pick up an order in Byram, while I was on 55, it all just started with a guy that come flying up behind me.
JPD says that driver was 45-year-old Albert Thomas, who soon after passing Gar crashed into a wall along I-55 South just after the Elton Road exit. But when Gar pulled over to help Thomas, she says the unthinkable happened.
I had my keys in my right hand and my phone in my left, and I'm like, just sit down, and he grabbed my wrist and he said, give me your effing keys. He's like, I'll slit your effing throat, chasing me through cars.
According to Gar, Byram police tell her she called dispatch for help twice at 5:45 and 5:47. JPD also received a call at 5:47. 2 minutes later, Byram police arrived on the scene.
On the way, Jackson, while responding, went and drove up on an accident, and so we assumed that at this point that was what the call was. As we're on the call, we find out that call, no, she had a blowout.
Because of the mix-up, Jackson police took an hour to get to the scene just down the road.
My call went in as, this man is chasing me down the highway after he crashed. So there's a big difference, and the miscommunication there is between dispatch and their officers.
I've been in constant communications with Chief Arrington about this because we're doing a thorough investigation. We're wanting to make sure that there wasn't any flaws with our dispatch system. The officer was doing what they thought was right. You know, they thought this is the one that we got a call on, and we're going to stop and check it out.
regardless of the mistake.
I DoorDash with my daughter. I take her with me. And the fact that she could have been with me that morning and I was just trying to do the right thing, I need to know that I'm safe, and I don't feel like that I'm safe with JPD.
Now, Thomas was arrested after JPD arrived and is charged with attempted robbery and a convicted felon in possession of a firearm. His bond is set at $80,000. Now, Gar says she plans to take legal action against Thomas and JPD for the traumatic experience. Holly Emery, 3 on your side. It's no easy task to drive an 18-wheeler up and down interstates safely for a living. It requires a written knowledge test, a skills test, safety checks, and English proficiency.
In order to obtain an interstate CDL, you must be able to be proficient in the English language, read, write, and understanding. I think, unfortunately, in the last administration, I think some of that may have been overlooked.
Monday, President Donald Trump signed an executive order tasking Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy to issue new guidance to the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration and enforcement personnel, outlining revised inspection procedures necessary to ensure compliance with the requirements.
I really do think it's a good thing. I mean, you need to be able to understand what the construction going on is, like the construction right over there on 55.
If I'm in Mexico, to understand where I'm going or what they're saying on what danger lies ahead as a construction driver, I don't think it's appropriate for me to go somewhere where I don't know what they're saying.
While the written test is in English, the term proficiency in the executive order is something that concerns immigration attorney Esma Ali.
You're going to be able to just grab a random document and ask these immigrants, hey, we need you to read what's on here. So it's going to really be based on the discretion of the officer or the individual conducting the test, which we fear will cause discrimination as there's hundreds of thousands of immigrants that are indeed truck drivers.
That's why Ali believes a nationwide standardized test could protect not only drivers but law enforcement as well.
If there's something across the board, I think that would help. Right now, we don't have a universal test. It's a test that's going to differ from one person to another, from one officer to another.
It's kind of ironic because I think a lot of times people look at the truckers as bad people, but in all honesty, especially your larger carriers and larger companies are out there really pushing very hard for highway safety and to make sure that we create a safe environment for not only our drivers but the motoring public that we share the highways with.
In Jackson, Holly Emery, Fox 40 News.